Joe Biden is the one that did a very, very bad thing.
What did you want President Zelensky to do about Vice President Biden and his son, Hunter?
Look, Biden and his son are stone cold crooked. And I think it was $1.2 billion he wasn't going to give unless they got rid of a prosecutor who was investigating his son and the company that his son works for. I think it was billions of dollars to Ukraine unless they fired the prosecutor who was looking at his son and his son's company, the company that his son worked with. And that's a very dishonest thing.
What's the story and the facts as we know them?
Sure. So what we know for sure is that in 2016, Joe Biden, then the vice president, pushed Ukrainian leaders to get rid of a senior prosecutor who was widely seen as ineffective in fighting corruption. It's important to know that this was not a personal Joe Biden crusade. This was the position of the United States government, of the International Monetary Fund, of other U.S. allies. All of them agreed that this prosecutor needed to go. So Trump has insinuated that Hunter Biden himself, the vice president's son, was personally under investigation, and we have no evidence for that in particular. That the successor to this prosecutor has made clear that Hunter Biden has not himself been under investigation and that there's no evidence of wrongdoing by either Biden.
People understand that the former regime robbed the country entirely and emptied the budget. People give time to authorities.
Ukraine's General Prosecutor's Office is investigating a missing $2 million from a budget allotted to reform the judiciary.
On Monday, a rally took place near the presidential administration in Kyiv. Several dozens of activists, MPs and ordinary citizens have come together to demand the resignation of the Prosecutor General, Viktor Shokin. Ukraine's General Prosecution Office has been under a lot of criticism for not willing to fight corruption, not only in the country, but also within its own ranks.
We will not allow him, actually, to maintain the Soviet system of prosecution, which intimidates people. We don't believe even that this prosecution can be reformed, because it doesn't exist.
A rally is taking place in Kyiv this Monday in protest of the current Prosecutor General of Ukraine. The demonstrators demand an appointment of a new and open prosecutor.
And to discuss the hottest topic of this week and of the recent months, we have here in the studio the former deputy of the General Prosecutor of Ukraine, Vitaly Kaсько. So there is much more to speak about the whole, let's say, I would say the crisis and the scandal regarding that. Thanks for being with us.
Good evening.
Vitaly, just really for our foreign audience who probably follows and know there is something going on and something very big, would you explain what's going on with the General Prosecutor Office with this? What is the story?
Shortly, the General Prosecutor's Office of Ukraine is falling down.
Britain said on Tuesday it was keeping under review a decision to arm Ukraine to help it fight Russian-backed militants, saying it couldn't allow the Ukrainian armed forces to collapse. British Foreign Secretary Philip Hammond's comments came ahead of a meeting in Minsk aimed at establishing a ceasefire in East Ukraine.
The Ukraine is going to need massive international support, but that cannot be delivered unconditionally. We cannot pour our taxpayers, our international financial institutions' money into the sink of corruption that is, frankly, the Ukrainian economy.
Ukraine's parliament has accepted the resignation of the Prosecutor General, who has been accused of failing to deal with the country's corruption. The parliament dismissed Viktor Shokin, who tendered his resignation a month ago. Earlier, Shokin fired his deputy, who had accused Shokin of maintaining ties with corrupt officials and lawmakers.
It's been a year since Mr. Yuri Lutsenko, formerly the head of the presidential parliamentary faction, was appointed the country's prosecutor general. Immediately declared that his main task was to change the prosecutor general's burial grounds and restore the prosecutor's office to a real advocate of the people and state.
I report that there are dozens of corruption cases against Yanukovych and his widest circle. We have completed the pre-trial investigation against Yanukovych. They have already responded on the court proceedings for 32 former officials from the time of Yanukovych and the heads of the fictitious enterprises that worked for them. As I promised, the number of crimes solved relating to the obstruction of peaceful protests on Maidan has risen. Since the beginning of the investigations into the Maidan cases, law enforcement agencies have sent 147 indictments on 228 people to court. During my time as Prosecutor General, in these cases, 31 indictments on 70 people have been sent to court. In particular, an indictment against the former head of the capital's law enforcement, who are charged with organizing the beatings on the 30th of November and the 1st of January. As it stands, 42 people have been sent to court in relation to the Maidan cases. Since the 3rd of May, respected people's deputies, the Prosecutor General's office has started self-governing. From now on, the Prosecutor General's office can neither appoint nor dismiss any of the heads of any of prosecution units, and this is a good thing. It means that the Stalinist model for the prosecutor's office is dead. In the short time since January, the General Inspectorate has already dismissed 46 prosecutors for dishonesty and providing inaccurate information in e-declarations. Harmonizing the legal position, we took the opportunity to focus on joint investigations and joint prosecution groups from the specialized anti-corruption prosecutors and NABU, and are moving successfully in that direction. How successfully? In a year, we have handed 1,191 cases of criminal corruption offenses over to the courts.